Lieutenant Governor Donna Lynne announced her gubernatorial campaign this week. Joining the already crowded Democratic primary, Lynne enters the race with support from current Governor John Hickenlooper, who is term limited, and encouraged her to run. Roger, what do you think Donna Lynne's entry in this race means to the very crowded Democratic?
You know, I love you asking me this question because honestly, I don't know that it means anything. You ask, and I did last night, I had dinner with some friends, and I asked them, I said, what do you know about her? What do you know about Donna Lynne? It was a mixed crowd, it was Republicans and Democrats. Oh, well, she's his lieutenant governor. And that was like it. It was like John Hickenlooper's shadow. So if you like John Hickenlooper and you like what he's done, and a lot of people do, he's had some successes here in Colorado, this would be a third term for John Hickenlooper. I think she shadows him, and that's the way it's been. I think she's really problematic in a couple of areas. The biggest, obviously, in politics, you never say a never. And she said she would never run for governor. If I was writing opposition work for her, I could nail her to the wall on that. That's a problem. Also because she is so opaque. And I thought John was opaque, but she is even less. She's like smoke. That's either good or bad. She can either have something projected positively on her or negatively. She's supposed to come in and solve health care. Health care isn't solved. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, too. She was supposed to be the expert in that. Well, I see no improvement in that. Other than that, what do you know about her, other than she broke a promise? I think that's going to be a real problem for her in the general election.
Eric, with Polis already in, with Mike Johnston in, with Noel Ginsburg in, what do you, Carrot Kennedy, what's going to happen with Donna Lynne in now, too?
Well, I mean, the phrase we've used so many times around this table about this primary on both sides of the aisle, Patty, is wild. And wild just got slightly wilder with one more entrant this week. Roger talks about the only things we know about her. Well, there's one other thing that I found fascinating that came out this week, which is she has a tattoo on each shoulder. So maybe that's the whole campaign sales point, is our first tatted governor.
That we know of.
That we know of, exactly. Thanks for the clarification. I do think the Democratic field is probably now set. I think the Republican field still has room for new entrants, but the Democratic field is set. It is a field of a lot of talent. I think Donna Lynne's real challenge is going to be twofold. One, can she connect? No one doubts her abilities. No one doubts her brain power, her managerial competence, but can she really connect with voters outside sort of an inner circle? I'm not suggesting she can't. I think it is an untested question yet. The second is, can she get out of John Hickenlooper's shadow, take advantage of Hickenlooper's support, but move beyond that? My theory of the Colorado Democratic Party is that they support John Hickenlooper as governor, most Democrats, maybe not with a ton of enthusiasm, but they don't necessarily want to replace John Hickenlooper with son of, or in this case, daughter of, or whatever, John Hickenlooper. They want something different. Democrats are feeling passionate and animated and moving ideologically left these days. And they want somebody who makes their heart go pitter-patter, not just someone who portrays managerial competence. And I think Donna Lynne is going to be stressed and tested to sort of bridge that gap.
Justine, whose hearts are going pitter-patter over which candidates?
Well, from the Democratic point of view here, I think that I would agree with Eric that Democrats right now are looking for somebody who tugs at their heartstrings more than somebody who's good at policy. Or personally, I like the idea of a Donna Lynne. I think that she's probably the best person, considering now Colorado has become kind of a model for state-structured health care and how we're going to move forward with health care. She's, worked with Kaiser. She has a good perspective on those things. But really, I think a lot of Democrats coming through the primary are looking for someone who's really on the left. And Hickenlooper, we voted for Hickenlooper, but a lot of people holding their noses have done that. And I think that they want somebody who's going to be far left on a lot of issues, is not going to be wishy-washy. So seeing her get through the Democratic primary seems like it'll be a little challenging for her. But I think if she was to get the nomination, she has probably a better shot than the other candidates to get the actual election to governor.
Really, above Jared Polis, who has been so, he's a great campaigner.
Natasha, what do you think? Can she pull out ahead of Polis?
Well, I think what the situation reminds me of right now is kind of a family dinner with relatives you don't see all that often, where you sit down and have a conversation and everyone's playing nice until someone brings up a topic that might be contentious, and then all of a sudden everyone has opinions. When Hickenlooper wasn't endorsing anyone, and I believe he's still not endorsing anyone specifically, but when he was sort of taking the stance of a typical Hickenlooper, I'm staying out of it, I'm not getting involved, I love everyone, it's all fine, it was going to be a very different race. Now I think that the other candidates are going to have to establish themselves as not necessarily anti-Hickenlooper, but different than Hickenlooper. And that's going to make for some very contentious discussions and much better debates. So frankly, from a media perspective, it'll be a lot more interesting for us. Whether that's better for Colorado or not, or better ultimately for their party, I don't know. That's what's going to play out over that dining room table.